So, Jyoti, you've accomplished what so many SaaS founders dream of. You started a company, you built an amazing product, you've grown significant revenue, you've raised at a very high valuation. Thinking back, what was the most difficult part of that journey for you so far?
Looking back, there's a few parts of the journey that are extremely critical and difficult. The first one is finding the right product market fit, and that one is hard because you also have to be a bit flexible and let go of your ego at that point. Because you start with I'll tell you, in our story, we started with some beliefs that this is how we think it should be. And we realized that that's not where the market is right now, right? So, for example, initially we thought that everything would be running, all enterprises will be in Amazon Web Services like very quickly.
Yeah.
So let's start with that. That we'll start with applications running in Amazon, and then we'll do all the other applications. And that's how we started building the product. What we realized was that that's not where the market is. So we have to be flexible about it, because and we have to change our plan. The second thing we started with was we got to provide people a way for a more closed loop system very early on, that you deploy through us, you monitor your apps through us, and you kind of get into like a dynamic healing system early on. What we realized was that the market is not ready for it. It may take like another 5 years for us to get there. But getting the ability to adjust that and ability to find the right direction in that is hard, because you start with your convictions, you start with and so as long you definitely want to have the vision of what things you want to help the world with. You have to have that vision, right? But then how you go on that path, you have to be very flexible about it. So that's a hard part, and that's looking back, I would think that was hard. The second part is for a lot of SaaS companies, and I look back, is the sales machinery element of things. You have to as any founder, most of the founders start with a product background, and sales is a very different kind of thing that you have to learn. Mm-hmm. And I look back at that is hard, but as a founder you have to learn. You have to learn the intricacies of it, you have to learn to be an expert on it, and you have to spend time on it. So that's looking back was a hard part, which we have gone through.
Good. So Jyoti, I'd like to switch gears a little bit and get your thoughts on immigration reform. In many ways, you're the poster child for how immigration can create massive number of jobs here in America. Curious, any thoughts you have on immigration reform?
Yeah, definitely. We as a country, we talk a lot about the how to solve and reform the illegal immigration situation, and that's something we have to reform as well. But for me, it's really the legal reform, the legal immigration reform that is very, very important. I do think as a country, it does not make any sense for us to put any barriers for the best and the brightest of the world to come here. But that is the competitive advantage we can build. And right now, the barriers are high, and the barriers are from all sort of things. From if you come here as an engineer, it's just to get through the H-1 visa process. It's a very complicated process. There's a lottery system. You may not, as a company who's trying to hire people, like some of the best engineers from somewhere, to bring them here, they have to apply for the H-1 lottery. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's too complex for a lot of people to even participate in that. The second thing is it's from on a personal dimension, right, the process makes it very hard. You bring some engineers and scientists who would come in here, their spouses are not allowed to work, for example. It makes it very hard from a personal perspective. If your spouse is an engineer or a doctor or an accountant, and she's just not legally allowed to work now, so you are not going to come here as well. So you put a barrier for some of the best people to come here and help the economy, with the building businesses, building technologies, innovating, all of that, right? The third part is the green card process. That's for a lot of people who are coming from especially India and China, it can take anywhere from 6 to 8 years. and it's a very, very complex process. It's what some people say, like, if once you find like some of the best people in the world, you should just staple the green card to
Staple
their
the green card, yes,
to
I agree.
when they come in, right?
Yeah.
Because you want them here.
You want to keep them.
Why would you want any kind of barriers?
It's almost the opposite right now. We're training people and we're asking them to leave, which is it's kind of an odd dynamic.
Exactly.